Hi, my name is Didier. Welcome to the lab at La Maison du Whisky in Paris. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite Japanese drinks, Nihonshu, or Saké, and specifically about Junmai. What is Junmai Sake? So here in France, we just started the Saké Nouveau campaign, which is basically new sake, the fresh first sakes of the year after the winter. And it's a big operation where a lot of restaurants are going to be putting forward these new sakes. And so the idea was to kind of speak about sake in general, and more specifically about Junmai, because Junmai is a term that you see on a lot of the labels. So first of all, what does Junmai mean? If you translate it from the Japanese, it means pure rice. So as you know, sake is made from rice. Why pure rice? Because you may not know this, producers can add distilled alcohol to a sake. So they ferment their sake and add distilled alcohols either to make more volume by diluting it, or to extract more flavors. But there's different reasons. However, there is a trend going on in Japan now where people are kind of coming back to the pure rice products, and they want more transparency and to know that nothing has been added to their sake. So no sugar, no sweetener, no coloring. At La Maison du Whisky, for example, we only work with Junmai Sake. So for example, we've got two Junmais, one called Dasai and one called Katori 90 by Terada Honke. Both are Junmai, so nothing has been added. Where it gets kind of tricky is that in the business, we also talk about Junmai as a style of sake. So typically as opposed to Ginjo. And this is where the big difference comes in. Here we've got the Dasai, which is a Daiginjo, so very fruity, floral, more on the elegant side, closer to a wine. And then we've got the Katori 90, which is really a Junmai style. So meaning more ricey, more umami, more richness. They only polish off 10% of the rice, so it's got a lot of kind of rice bran flavors. And even though they're both Junmai, this would be considered kind of a Ginjo style, whereas this would be considered a real Junmai style. Now, there's other ways to categorize sakes, of course, but this is kind of how people talk in the industry for now. And one example of that is the glasses. So you may know Riedel. Riedel is an Austrian glass maker who specializes in making specific glass shapes for different types of wines. And for some time now, they've been making sake glasses as well. And as you can see, there's two very different glass shapes. One is called the Daiginjo glass, so which would be for something like a Dasai, which is close to a wine glass. Actually, you can tell it's it's shaped to really show off the aromas, to kind of concentrate them on the nose. And then you've got their Junmai glass, which just came out last year or a couple years ago. And this is made for those kind of richer, heavier styles of sake. The Junmai glass, on the other hand, kind of looks like a large cocktail glass. The idea here is not really to focus the aromas, because on the Junmai style of sake, what you're really looking for is that richness on the palate, the umami, and that's why you have like this wide mouth on this glass, which is going to push the liquid over to the sides of your mouth and really kind of fill your mouth with that umami richness. So it's a bit confusing, but to wrap things up, basically Junmai is a technical term, which means nothing has been added, but it's also a stylistic term. So basically this is a Junmai style, as opposed usually to a Ginjo style, which is also a technical term, Ginjo. So that's the question of the day. If you know the answer, what does Ginjo refer to as far as the technical process? Anyway, I hope you liked the video. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up. Follow us if you want more, and see you next time.